what's the improvement really? I mean, turning off the strip to tie it together?
No, okay, so
let the air out? What's the purpose?
It lets the air out. So these bags exist, and in general they work relatively well. But invariably what happens is you walk your dog, you're going to pick up after your dog, and people are going to tie off the bag, right? Because it kind of seals in any smells, and it's just cleaner and more sanitary that way. And when they do that, it creates a bit of an air pocket in the bag. And so when you read through reviews and you really use the products, you'll see that occasionally they end up clogging pipes because the air pocket gets stuck in the pipes and it backs up. And so that's the area that we're really attacking. We're taking a product that's there. We've kind of done a lot of patent research, and what we're doing is we filed a patent on a tearaway strip on a water-soluble bag. And it's that tearaway strip that allows our product to flush cleanly while other products occasionally get caught up in pipes and work differently.
The flushing part, it's 10% gets stuck in the toilet.
And so we're looking to solve that problem.
So the consumer would understand that?
I think that as I get better about talking at it, and we kind of are able to better market ourselves as the bag that won't clog your pipes.
Okay.
I think that's where we would need to go.
That sounds like a tagline.
Sorry, you were.
What's your price point? Just because I was looking while you're talking, I was looking at Amazon, seeing the competitors you have.
Right.
So what is your price point?
I'm not sure. We haven't got that far, to be honest. I think that we would come in. This stuff is not that much more expensive than just normal plastic bags. So a normal plastic flushable bag should be relatively comparable. How exactly we price in, what the pricing model is, we have not gotten that far, to be completely honest.
Any kind of guesstimate?
I don't know. I think we feel like we can be competitive with what else is out there, but I don't know exactly.
How long does it take it to disintegrate?
I can show you actually. So, right before I came in here, I went and got water from the bathroom. That's where I stepped out to. So the bag, often the concern is it going to disintegrate while I'm walking my dog? Right? That's what people are concerned about. The answer is no. It's not going to disintegrate while you're walking your bag. It does take a little while, and really it depends on the temperature of the water and the thickness of the bag. But as you can see, I just put the bag in water. I'm kind of mixing around as though we were flushing it. And what went from a relatively solid bag is very quickly a soft, malleable film here. And as the longer it sits, the more it will dissolve and break down. So to say 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 7 minutes, I can't really do that. But I can say that, actually I can pass these around if you guys want. It feels like plastic. It acts like plastic.
And this is much thicker than the film that's around those tablets.
Yes.
Because
yes.
I've done dishes and gone and grabbed the tablet, and by the time I get to the sink, it's already melting.
Right.
So did you guys do any of the research on the average dog walk, how far someone's going to really give you a timeline by? Because
I've held them for hours. So I walked
in the hot
dogs.
environment?
We started in the midsummer, and so walking a dog, pretending to pick up the neighbor's dog's poop, walking through the neighborhood, like you're gonna get a little sweaty, and so maybe the top part of the bag might get a little sticky, but it's not going to disintegrate in your hand.
And the patent that you guys filed was on the tearaway part?
It's on the tearaway strip, right? So the bag exists. The bag exists, and we are trying to, well, what we're going to do as we kind of all have this done is prove that the bag exists as a concept. It's already popular. People want to protect the environment, and we want to bring that bag to the next step and say everyone can use this because it is safe, because it's not going to clog your pipes.
What does the bag break down into? So what are we actually putting into the water?
Water and carbon. So if you look up the compounds of polyvinyl alcohol, it breaks down to H2O and carbon. There's not microplastics, so a lot of the, so plastic never really breaks down. And kind of when it does, there's a lot of microplastics around there, right? And that's one of the big problems in our oceans now is plastics in our oceans is microplastics all over the place. We don't really have that issue with this material. Another issue that, there's another line of bags out there that are called biodegradable bags, dog bags that are biodegradable. One of the issues with those bags is that they don't actually biodegrade in the way that we as the consumer generally think, because it's the way we handle our landfills. In the United States, we pile our landfills, right? We pile some more and more on, and then when they get full, we cover them up. And then there's no oxygen, there's no aerobic activity in those landfills, so thus your biodegradable product doesn't really break down. And so that's one of the other areas that we think that we can really push this flushable concept is we break down relatively clean into really water and carbon, and we're going to be able to prevent a lot of this waste in the landfill that's never really breaking down the way we think it is. Sir?
Have you, so I see the benefit of not putting it in a landfill
Yeah.
or leave. Have you there's still some negative environmental impact of water and flushing it, and then it's going into our sewer system and the cost. Have you quantified that to say this is what it's better to, there's this extra energy and other environmental impact this way versus just to the landfill?
To be honest, absolutely not. No. Other than would tell you, of course, it's better. But no, I really have not.
So is who's the nature your customer? Are you going to license? Do you think of licensing this to people who make bags as a way to improve it with the thrift? Then yeah, your customer is a business, or are you looking at having a manufacturer produce and put it on? Because how you market what you do is big, so
Yes.
you have a sense what you're
Yeah,
gonna
so
do?
our initial goal is to kind of be able to try to develop it ourselves. That's what we're initially looking to do, and then to be able to prove a concept. And then once we can show, hey, this really works and people like it, then I think we're open to kind of going different paths. We both already have careers, and I don't think either of us are looking to leave our current career to run a bag manufacturing business. So maybe once we kind of prove an idea and we can say, hey, does somebody like this idea? Do you want this? I think we would be open to that. But honestly, we started this in July timeframe, really putting this together. So a lot of these questions we don't have solid answers for at this point. So,
You said the patent, excuse me, you said the patent was on the tearaway strip on this type of bag. So whoever makes this type of bag from these materials with this tearaway strip must adhere to this patent, correct? So if that's true, I'm just saying there might be other uses besides just a doggy bag.
So we've actually established ourselves, so we were talking about BagIt Flushables today. We established a parent company of BagIt Solutions, because that's something we thought about early on, is that right now, what seems to be an easy in for us is dogs and dog bags. But the idea of a water-soluble bag, you're right, with a tearaway strip that you can flush, that'll flush cleanly, I think is applicable in a larger sense, a larger area.
Have you thought of because my sister's in school to be a marine biologist, and one of the biggest problems they have is the bags from the grocery store. Those Walmart bags and Target bags end up in the ocean and sea turtles, and she's her whole argument there. So people are using the reusable bags now, some, but can you make a larger bag like that can hold groceries long enough that then they can disintegrate? Maybe you don't have to flush them, maybe they can go in the trash and kind of break down. So if they get into the ocean, they just kind of break down.
Absolutely.
That
I
might be
feel
something
like
to-
that would be an applicable use of this material, yeah.
Just a thought, there might be a natural ally in some of the municipalities. I don't know if you've heard of the River, I think it's called the River Star program. Anyway, it's group gets together and they say they want to encourage people to take waste and put it in your trash can, right? And put a rain barrel in your backyard and all these things, just again to clean up the water a little bit. Now they're directing people to put the waste in the trash can. The next logical step is then if it goes into the water, then it goes to the waste processing plant and all that sort of stuff. I think you talking to them, that would be useful.
River Star?
River Star program. Yeah, maybe afterwards.
Thank you. Another piece of this is, as we were doing research, is the EPA came out a few years ago and did say that flushing waste is the best way to dispose of waste. And so while they didn't say flushing it in a plastic or a water-soluble bag is the best way to dispose of it, it is out there that flushing animal waste is the best way to dispose of waste. So that may almost tie back to your question about how the cost benefit of flushing going into the landfill.
I would imagine there's grant money available too.
Yeah,
Because
I
of
would,
that,
yeah,
like a fair amount considering the West Coast.
and I would include that so that, for like, when he asks, you can say the EPA says, even though you have to use water and sewer and flush it, they're saying this is the best way to get rid of it. Cause that's, I mean, they're gonna know.
So when you throw it in the trash, you say that it's not gonna disintegrate, because when you carry it, it doesn't disintegrate. But let's say you're in the park, you throw it in the trash, and the next person that uses it, the trash can, is it gonna disintegrate in the trash can and start giving out odor, or?
It would eventually, yeah. So I mean, if it was an open trash can and rain got on there, yes, it would start to break down.
With the rain only, but not the feces.
With the rain, no. So polyvinyl alcohol, or PVA, reacts to water. So anything solid, it's not going to react very much to it. So trash being piled on top of it isn't going to make it break down. It's when water gets on there, the H2O in the water interacts with the compounds in the bag and it breaks down. So that's when it starts to disintegrate. And as you can see, like this bag at this point is pretty much mush and should run down a pipe with no problem. Sorry, that was
Yes, I have 2 dogs, and we don't have a backyard, so I'm a big consumer of plastic bags. And and I said, great, here's a guy that has a bag, and we can just flush it down the commode. Well, she didn't want to bring it in the house. We just we deposit it in outside containers that have lids that are provided by the city. And I said, well, isn't this great? Well, she doesn't want it in the house. And the trouble is, if we deposit that bag in the city's can, it might deteriorate in the can, but I guess that's okay, because the cans were originally designed for raw waste in the first place. So
I think I have a 2-part comment to there. So yes, if this bag goes in the trash or in the can that you're already depositing it, great, it's going to the same place it already was going to, and instead of it being wrapped in plastic that sits there for 1,000 years, the bag just dissolves prior to going to waste. And the other piece of that, and this is the hurdle that comes up a lot, is why would I want to bring it in the house? I don't want to bring it in my house. And I really think that's an education piece. When we realize the impact that our dog's waste has when it goes into the landfill, and it sits there for 1,000 years, and your grandchildren's grandchildren are now dealing with the waste that from our dogs. I think when we can kind of frame it in that direction, people who may be more open, and eventually, okay, it's 3 more steps. The bag's already sealed. I've been carrying it for an hour, and you walk, right? You've been carrying it for 45 minutes. 1, 2, 3 steps, and or 4, however big your house is.
we need to get over the psychological barrier of bringing it in the house.
And how we get over that, I think, is by realizing the real impact of this dog's waste.
I'm going to go back to the license piece, because working with a lot of people with patents these days, and I would visualize, right after this presentation, someone in China who is from a plastic bag company is going to Google and find this presentation, and within 3 months, someone in China is going to put online a product that is your product, stealing your patent, because they don't care about the patent. So your time to deliver something to the market, either by licensing it to another bag company, who then can get it to the market quicker, or you're doing something. It just seems that I know you have careers, but getting something to the market seems to be something timely that needs to be done. So what is your timing of something you think you might get something to the market?
We've kind of internally established a midsummer goal, but
Okay, well that timing is
I mean, that's what we've said, is that we think that we have an idea And right now, so I'm trying to kind of get better about talking at this, and Dan, the guy who I'm working with, is trying to find us someone to truly produce the bags. And at that point, we'll have a really good idea of how much it's truly going to cost, so that we could truly say this is going to cost X amount per bag, and we can start working from there.
So those are prototypes apparently. How did you get those made, and what did they cost you?
Honestly, this is a generic flushable bag. It's a generic PVA bag, and then we kind of hand put in our tearaway strip to kind of be able to show how it works, to be able to show what happens with a plastic bag, to get people comfortable with it. $6 for a pack of 20 bags, 25 bags.
No, so you don't have, that was your retail cost, right?
Not that we've said from a manufacturer to develop ourselves. We got a generic bag, we cut it out, we did what is with the patent, and went from there.
I have one other question.
Sorry.
So to me, the first thing I thought was this makes sense to the average person today who's in a relatively new constructed home because of PVC piping.
Yes.
So my question is, the older, like, did you guys look at any of that research? Because the older kind of copper piping and some of that had the deterioration on the inside that when you were holding up and it was stringy, I'm thinking, okay, I do that, 30 times, and now I'm having a water flow issue. So just curious if you had spent any time researching that and how that would impact certain sections of the United States right now.
We've talked a lot about it and trying to figure out how to sell this as safe and clean, or safe to flush, and yet recognizing that everyone's pipes are going to be different, and some with 200-year-old pipes, you're right, it may not work perfectly. So I think we would kind of have to some sort of disclaimer of this is safe, should be safe, use at your own risk, or something along those lines. Because I've been using it in my house. I've been flushing these pretty frequently. My house is 30 years old. I've had no issues. I've had friends using them with no issues, but every so often there are reviews online from other companies or whatever that have had bags backing up toilets, and by and large, plumbing companies get in there and refer to it as, oh, it looks like the bag got caught with an air pocket. I don't know necessarily about the long-term build-up.
What you might want to do is get one of those camera systems that you can snake through. Because the thing is, like, there could be an issue that's developing and we're just unaware. I just think it's something that maybe, late at night when the infomercials aren't working and you got time, stick a camera down there and see if.
Another technical, like, what does it take? How long does it take for it to totally disintegrate? Now, we know that it's quite liquidy, it's free flow, it's not a bag anymore, but when does it completely disappear? Do you have any?
I don't have a time, no.
Okay.
So one good suggestion, or at least I think it's a good suggestion, would be to include a guarantee on your product, since it is supposed to be uncloggable. A guarantee that if there is a clog, you guys will resolve that at your cost for your customer. So that might be a selling point that would put you guys above any other competitors. And then
that's very expensive.
Provided they tow the bag. Provided they go there without tearing the strip.
Right.
Doesn't even go on. Hell no.
There might be a rag in the same thing.
I see is education is going to be, your marketing budget is going to have to be massive to educate the general public about a flushable bag, and then a flushable bag that works better. So.
Well, I think on that, I think you could two-part this. As you're educating, you can also say, like, address a concern. Well, even if you don't want to bring it into your house, you have babies running around, you don't want that inside the house, even if you have to walk to the toilet. This bag is still better because even when you put it, you can put it in the trash can and it will dissolve. So you're kind of like, as people are getting used to having to bring the bag into their house and throw it away, you're also saying, hey, even if you don't want to do that step yet, you can at least help the environment by using this dissolvable bag. And if you're the one marketing that way, while these other people are just saying just flush it, then that will help you get the name brand in the meantime while you're teaching them to bring it into the house. Because years ago, no one even picked it up. That was an education, you had to pick it up. So now they're like, not only do you have to pick it up, you got to flush it. So, but at least they're more open to it now.
I think this is a complete licensing play. You have way too much education to put all this money in something. I mean, this guy's been selling bags online for 17 years or something. The same product. You're trying to educate somebody that your product's better. You need to go to Petco or something, license it out, pay 5 cents a bag, and get the hell out. Because if not, you have way too much education. If you give any guarantees, all investors are going to leave. You do not want to guarantee a product down the road, because first thing I knew is have a plumbing problem, I'm going to flush a bag and call you up and make a claim. So I mean, the only way to market is to license it. If you can't license it, you'll never get it to market. I mean, I've been knocked off in India. They will knock you off very quickly. You need to license it, do it cheap, and get the hell out. Because you have way too much education trying to educate everybody. And we've spent 20 minutes in this room with questions, very good questions about all the same issues. You know, so I mean, that's the only way I see for you to take it to market. Go to Petco. As soon as you get patented, take it to Petco or one of those guys and let them brand you under their product. Let their people educate people. If you don't get it on the shelf, this is not a product people are going to go to on Amazon. I mean, has anybody ever bought anything like this? I mean, it's not something you even know about until somebody educates you. I mean,
Well-
Environment, a lot of our generation that are environmentally friendly do have them. My friend lives in Philadelphia, has them. She actually saw it. She's like, I already use these. I didn't tell her to tear away strip, but.
but that's one
She
person
does,
out of
she
a room
does.
of 25, and that's a family member. So you're talking about 1/10 of society is going to buy these bags. You need it in front of somebody at Petco where people are spending money on a pet.
They're already there.
That are already there. I mean, on Amazon, the bags are $50 or $10 for 50 of them and free shipping. You know, the margins are going to be super tight on plastic. You're probably looking at 3 or 4 cents a bag to produce them. Your shelf cost and your shipping is going to kill you. You need to get into a market and let somebody else deal with all these headaches. I mean, that's just my 2 cents to what.
That's awesome. Thank you. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like, it's not the cost of manufacturing, the cost of your packaging. So I've done biodegradable materials in the past. They have terrible shelf life. It's designed for water soluble, so it breaks down over time. And you have to have special glues and stuff like that for the clamshells and everything, and that's where it gets expensive.
And shipping, it's going to be a nightmare from China. You got to get it in a watertight container all the way over here. You just ruined all your inventory.
Exactly.
Let somebody else deal with all that headache, man. License and get out.
I agree.
And then I guess my next question is there any utility patents on the use of a PBA
Not that he could, so
for
Dan
the
did,
bag, for the bag itself?
Dan did all the patent work, not that he could find, so that's why we thought that this was an avenue that we could pursue. But I haven't done any of the patent work.
Well, I think the question is on the bag itself without the tearaway strip, just.
Yeah.
Right, and I am not the patent guy, but from what he's
I
saying.
would
the way
double
that-
check into that big time, because it's a blow molding process, like extrusion molding process. Those guys write patents every day. I mean, they come out with like 3 or 4 a month, seriously on, and they tweak the formulation. It'll be on the molecular weight of the polyvinyl alcohols, or the acetates, whatever the copolymers that they're using. Like, I would double check into that heavily.
Okay.
Because you might have to go, you could have your design patent, and you could take that to one of the manufacturers who wants to license your design patent, who's already selling to Petco. But if they, I'd wager a lot of money that there's already patents on polyvinyl alcohol for these patents. So,
They might be up to, and then stuff's been out for 20 years.
I mean, but they let's just say they roll out new ones every day, and it'll be on process.
Yeah.
It'll be, I mean, they can, I mean, process patents are hard to enforce, but they have them.
Patents are already enforced.
All patents, that's true.
Yeah.
But they have money and you don't, that's like.
I like where you're
that's
headed.
shit.
I suggest that you have 2 models, one without the strip, yeah, because I would be a very good customer if I could just to put it in the can in the park. Because I would, you know, I am concerned about using the grocery bags, and because they end up in the dump, and I would be a major customer if if you had one without the strip. So I was.
But even having the strip, you don't have to rip it off, right?
Yeah, with or without the strip, I guess it would be how we talked about it, but with or without the strip, it can still go in trash can.
But
the strip just allows it to
I
flush.
looked at the strip and as a whole, I mean, it's not impervious.
Yeah, yep.
And so, I would like it better if there weren't any holes in it.
Any other questions, comments?
We always like to end on what can 1 million cups do for you?
I think you've done it. So I don't know anything about 1 million cups other than I signed up online and Brittany sent me a message. But the feedback, the thoughts, the comments, I mean, that's exactly why I came down here for. Like, we had an idea that, and we're relatively amateur at this business piece, as I'm sure you guys have quickly picked up on, but we think we have a neat idea. And so to hear, license it, check the patent, how long does it take to dissolve? Education's gonna be an issue. Like, that's exactly what I came for here. So I appreciate that. And,
One more thing is with your marketing points, while you were talking, I was looking at some of your competitors. One of the complaints you'll often see is like it's very difficult to tie. And I was looking at yours, same thing. You don't want to just hold it like this. Some people are saying like, is there any way to make it like a tieable design? Something that's still biodegradable, but then you go like this and it goes there. Because yeah, it's like most of these things on Amazon or on these websites, and there's quite a few. They're always getting 4 stars, 5 stars, and it seems like there's a lot of purchases according to my experience on Amazon. But make yourself a little differential. See what the people are talking about as the problems. If you can do something like just that much and make it as part of your sellable point with these licensing out. It's like not only is it terrible, so you could like put it on some kind of design like they do in supermarkets on a roll, but then it's like it can also tie like this. You can say it's a full solution for your dog or for supermarkets. So a little bit more thought on the marketing highlights might do you very well.
Great, thank you.
Fold downs. Just a
Alright.
fold down, like.
Thank
3 or
you.
4.
Coffee mug.
Yep.
That coffee mug is for you.
That, yep, we like to give you that.
Thank you
So,
very much.
no problem, thank you for presenting. And, all right, you guys